And here we go. Welcome, guys. So this live stream is going to be highlighting 20 underrated Christian channels here on YouTube. If you guys don't know about them, their links are in the description on YouTube. If you're on TikTok, sorry, you got to go to YouTube to get the links. So I do have a couple of our guests, and we'll be periodically joined, and now even be joined in studio by one of our guests later on. So, but without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pull up a couple of our guests here. Welcome, you two.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Normally at this time is when I let you guys introduce yourself, but I'm going to hold off on that for a second because we're going to be doing a deep dive into your channels anyway. So we'll introduce you guys to the audience at this point. I did want to point out that I have my lovely Christmas tree up. It is fully designed, and even the my goats here have sort of designed it themselves with a little bit of leftovers that the Muslims were generous enough to make donations. So they are all set up on there. This will remain up until the end of the year. Maybe in the beginning of next year. I don't know. I'll take the tree down sometime. I'll get to it. Maybe July. We'll find out. Okay. No guarantees. So let's go ahead and kick this on off. Here, let me pull on up here with my introduction. Now, just full disclosure, just because they're on the list doesn't mean I endorse everything that these channels do. Just being fully clear with that, because I don't know. I haven't seen everything they have. They just look like really cool channels that I think you guys should check out. Okay? Very simple. Now, as my lovely wife, who has joined us today over there, Elle, has pointed out to me at some point, or at least I mentioned to her, is I got to the end, got ready to do this live stream, and then forgot to add me to the list. I'm sorry. If you're new here, I'm Eric. I do Christian apologetics, primarily focusing on Islam and outreaching to there, a lot to do with their sources, taking a deep dive in that, as well as open call-in debates where they can call in and we have a conversation and hopefully go somewhere. So that would be number 0 on the list because I forgot to add it and I didn't want to kick someone off of the list. So I was being nice. Now, just for my audience, today I got on YouTube. They have a new section under YouTube's studio, which gives you like suggestions that they'd recommend you do. So I went on there and I got a suggestion. I looked at my suggestion feed. Not funny. It is all goats. I do not want to be known as the goat guy. But YouTube is definitely doing it. Okay. There. House cleaning done. So we will go ahead and start off, and we'll start off here real quick. Oh, there's my channel. Very nice. Go check it out. Yada, yada. I already said everything. So we can move right along to the next one in our list. So, Elle, would you be kind enough to share your channel right here?
Hi, I'm Elle. My username is Elle ISO Elohim because it's me in search of God. Elohim is the first word for God in the Bible, the first name for God in the Bible that we see. And so we're taught in the Bible that when we seek God with all of our heart, we'll find him. And when we call upon him, he'll show us great and wonderful things we've not yet known. So that's the purpose of my channel, is to seek God together and share him together better than ever before. So that's part of my little catchphrase, is let's seek and share truth together better than ever before. And not only do I do that through my online ministries through YouTube, whether that's through like art projects, like the art in my channel banner and in my profile picture, and also doing like reviews and such, but also in person. And so my husband and I started the Seek and Share Truth conference. We've been doing those in Ohio every year by the grace of God, and Lord willing, we'd like to continue those every year in Ohio and potentially even expand those out to other states. We do travel to other states to do other conferences, and I'm so sorry about the background noise. But that's a little bit of what we do. We do online ministries and in-person ministries, all for the glory of God. I'm happy to help how I can. And if you haven't been able to tell by the background noise, I am also a mama.
So you can check out her link. It's in the description below. You're more than welcome to check her YouTube out and follow if you like what she has. Again, I will be I'm recommending these channels, not necessarily endorsing, but I will endorse my wife's channel because I love my wife.
Thank you. I love you too.
So, okay. So our second guest on the list here, if I can pull up his channel because I've got it right here saved, ready to go. Ha! Look at this. It's professional-ish, kind of.
Not
Go ahead,
quite.
brother.
Hi, I'm Josh from Lions on the Path. I just a humble servant of Christ. I try to save the people who were kind of lost in the same kind of hell that I was lost in. I went through 13 years of just about every suffering imaginable. I was disabled in 2010, and it just was a downward spiral from there. And finally, after my father had a heart attack and was recovering, and my mother had a stroke and was paralyzed while he was recovering, and I just hit rock bottom. And the first time in my adult life, I went out and I prayed to God. And I had talked to God. I believed in God, but I didn't believe he would intervene in my life. But I was at rock bottom, so I was desperate, and I went out and prayed. And I told him I would surrender my life to him if he'd just show me a way out of this nightmare that I'd been living in. Not even 10 minutes later, I was walking along the lake shore, and I hear something running towards me, and I'm like, oh great, is a dog gonna come running out of the woods and come attack me? That's just like the icing on the cake here. I look over and there's a white-tailed doe, and she bowed her head, let me come up, start petting her, and then she came down and walked alongside of me for over an hour. And before I left that day, she walked about chest deep into the water, and the wind just started to howl. It had been a calm day. And I promise you, since that moment, I have not suffered once, despite still constant pain. I have nerve pain from like my back surgeries. I have had this unshakable peace, and I had wisdom I never learned, and just love that I never experienced before. I had been almost crippled by social anxiety. You know, just that's just what happens sometimes when you're disabled and you think everybody's just judging you and looking at you, and your mind just plays tricks on you. And I go out and I talk to people, complete strangers, like they're my best friends for years now. And so my only goal is to just guide as many people to Christ as I can. And that's kind of the summary of my channel there. Oh, I guess I should add, he didn't lead me to Christ at first. The first year, because I had a bias against Christians. I grew up as a lukewarm Christian. Didn't really understand the Bible, couldn't even read it. I was an avid reader, but I couldn't understand the Bible. And I never really saw Christians acting a way I thought Christ had taught, and never really took it seriously. And I bought into all the lies about, all the Dan Brown Gnostic stuff and all that. And he led me through almost every major and a lot of the minor faiths and philosophies and spiritualities. And about a year into it, I was watching near-death experiences, and I was like, that is what is closest to my salvation. That is what happened with me. And I realized I had died before I died and was born again. And that led me right to the feet of Jesus Christ. And all of a sudden, even though it was like I had some sort of scales upon my eyes reading the Bible, it opened up to me. And I see him and hear him in every aspect of life and feel his good works through my life, but especially through nature, which is why, even though it's cold out and you can hear me, you can hear my, in my voice, it's a little shaky out here. I love to be out here when I'm doing my videos, because there have been so many times when animals approach me during my videos and just I hear him talking to me. And you know, I was telling a story one time about after my wife's mother-in-law, well, my mother-in-law died, and she was in horrible grief and had to go up and take care of her estate. And I took her hand and I said, you know, just trust in God. I was telling that story on one of my videos, and as soon as I said it, a hawk screamed and flew right over my head. So I've been lucky to get a few of the times God has spoken to me on my videos when I'm out here. That's just why I try to do them out here as often as possible.
Cool. So if you guys would like to check out his channel and see what he has on there, the link is in the description as well as in the live chat. Now I am joined in studio here by a guest. Now I've been in his studio many, many times. If I can scooch over without knocking over my Christmas tree. Not used to this setup, but that works. That's fine. That was just the wacky stick for the Quran. It works. That is fine. So I got him ready to go, and we have David S. back. Are you able to hear us on your fancy dancy setup?
Yes, I am. Can y'all hear me?
No,
Perfect.
not at all.
Darn it.
Don't listen to
Oh, wait
him.
a second.
Ah,
I got it.
So, John, I've been on your channel many times.
yes,
I think we've had you a couple times on this channel.
yes. So this is the goat channel, right? You are the goat guy, and I am.
According to YouTube, I guess I am.
Yes. So I have brought
They don't
one.
associate me with the rest of
Bucky?
the brush.
Bring Bucky in. Do you want Bucky in?
No, Bucky's fine. Bucky will be on a video later.
Bucky made a mess.
I'll clean it up later.
Sorry, it's your studio, not mine.
Yeah, you see, you invite people over, and this is the stuff they pull.
Yes, you know what? You have misrepresented yourself as the goat guy, and I don't see anything goaty around here.
I got the goats.
Amen.
Well, okay, that works. That works.
I got my goats.
That's
They're
good
up on
point.
they're up there. So I'm gonna go ahead and post this and let you introduce yourself. I know you don't have a lot of time to be with me, but let's go ahead and plug it on in.
Now, I'm not too late. I got stuck in traffic. Is there any problem with that?
Nope, you're good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
What about your channel? What's going on?
My name is John Newton. Newton SciFi is the channel. We look at mostly look at movies and, and books as well, and ask the question: how can we use this stuff as a means for evangelism, to share the gospel? We look at themes that are in movies. We look at themes that are in books to pull out and say, if you're sitting down watching something with somebody and you have a conversation with somebody, you can pull out these, even if they're not. I mean, we did Die Hard last year. We did a lot of other movies, secular movies, that we're still able to pull out Christian themes. And not saying they're Christian movies at all, but then because there's in a lot of ways, people generally don't speak in Christianese. If you're going to talk to somebody who's not a believer, they're not going to be talking in a lot of theological terms, but they can quote Star Wars pretty well and a lot of other things. And so this is a way to say, hey, you know that thing that's used in Star Wars, talk about the Force. Well, God's not like the Force, but in this way, God's even better. So those are the type of things we talk about. And theology and apologetics as well. I want to hit this book coming up early next year. This is Is God a Moral Monster? This is by Paul Copan. We did actually did part of it as a teaching a while back in a conference. And what I want to do is to say, hey, let's review this book because there's a lot of good material in here. People are looking at this type of stuff in the Old Testament and say, man, God was terrible. What was the deal with him? Why was he so mean back in the Old Testament? And Jesus said, love your neighbors. So, but there is a balance to that. And there's a reason why God is portrayed that way in the Old Testament. That's who he is. So with that justice. So if you scroll down on my YouTube channel a little bit, you'll get to see some of the things we talked about, like the red one. We just did a review on the red one, Islam versus the Fremen religion. We looked at Dune, what was going on there in Dune. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, we looked at that movie that just came out, Angel Studios. Next week, we're looking at another one from Angel Studios, and that is Homestead. That's the new one. Book of Eli, all these kind of stuff. And some of the stuff, they actually do have some pretty good Christian themes in there. And so this has been fun. It's a good thing. It's engaging. We do it's mostly live streams. We do a lot of interactions with viewers, call-ins, or comments that come in. And we try to do our best to respond to all of them. We can't get to all of them at one shot. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been good stuff.
Very interesting. Fantastic. So if you guys want to check that out, the link is in the description. Now you have something else, because I've been working with you on this channel. Something else you've also mentioned is your books. Oh,
yes. Yes. Okay. So I'm on Amazon under John Newton, and currently have short stories there, but there's also a novel that's coming out next month, the end of next month. It's called The Healing Stone. And it's a time travel story. It's Christian related. It's not like really strong theology in there, but it is a Christian story that can be used as a way you can give it to your friends and stuff like that, and use as a talking point to start leading people to Christ with. But it is a science fiction. Time travel is involved, and it's put in medieval Spain. What would you do with a stone that could heal anything? And this is book one of a series that we're going to have a lot of fun with. Try to be historically accurate in this too. It's good stuff.
Cool. So you got Homestead coming up as a review, and if you guys want to check out that and his books, check out his channel there. We have a question for you real quick here. If you've ever done ET.
No, have not. Yeah, that'd be a good one to do. We take suggestions, so we can put that up on the docket to take a look at it. And it says, because the plot of E.T. maps life and passion of Christ. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that before.
Well, we'll have to dive in and take a look at it.
There's sort of a resurrection event there. I wonder if that's what you're talking about.
Sort of. So we'll see. Well, I mean, it's been forever since I've watched it, so I'll have to do a review on it before we can do a review on it.
Okay. Hey, I want to thank you. This guy's great for having me on, and he's doing a lot of good work. So make sure you subscribe to his channel as well.
Yes, because I almost forgot to put myself on the list.
You got to do that, man. You gotta do that.
I got to the end. I was like, I got everyone. Everyone's invited. Everyone's good. Here's my list. Oh, shoot. I'm not there.
By the way, David, check your email. I sent you an email about next week. I'm not sure how close you look at it, but.
Oh, yeah. Let me do that. Also, Is God a Moral Monster? I would love to hop on for that, because that book is beautiful. I use that for some of the guided moral teaching. And moral question answer sessions with my students, so they don't know that. So
yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, and a plug for Dave here. He is a deep thinker, and he presents himself very well. He's got a real theological bent. He understands the principles behind things in the Bible. So that's a good way to do it, as well as the philosophy too. And we did a series of shorts. It was a skit, 2 skits that we did. And you check out my channel for that. David's in there. It was the Skeptic Zone, and he dressed up like Gosh, what was his name?
Rod
Serling. Thank
Rod
you.
Serling.
Rod Serling. And he was so funny because we didn't have, he doesn't smoke, obviously. Rod Serling did, but David didn't. And so we didn't have any fake cigarettes for him to use. So he's looking around the church and there's some leftover candy canes from church, from Christmas that are there. He pulls them out of the thing, and he has his cup full of candy canes, just so many, right? By the time we did so many takes to get this done, by the time we're done, he has gone through those candy canes, and now he's addicted. He's got the shakes because he doesn't have enough.
It was so bad. I had to go to the store to get a bunch of fake straws just to have the sense of something chewed. It was bad. I still have those fake straws in my car.
Wow.
The leftover ones.
Wow. Well, you need to. What was that? Candy Cane Anonymous that you need to go to.
So yeah, you can check
My
out.
name is David, and I love Red Stripe.
You can check out the whole videos that we did. We did one that was the Council of Nicaea, the claims that atheists make if it really happened this way, it paints it in that picture, and then the Easter, if Easter was pagan or not. We do a skit based upon that. And those are pretty fun. I know Thaddeus from Reasoned Answer joined us.
Yep.
And
L.
also APL.
Yep.
So no, IP joined us in one of those as well.
Yeah.
So cool. So make sure to check those out if you want. And thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
So, but since we are talking about you anyway, David, I might as well go ahead and put you on the spot now. So here is David's channel. If you guys want to go check it out, you're more than welcome. He's done fantastic work over there, and I'll turn it on over to you to give us some details about it.
Right on, brother. Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay? Everyone's all right. Yep. It's pretty clear. Thank God. Okay. So hello, everybody. My name is David, and this is my channel. It was previously, as you can tell, called Apologetics. But I recently, and I mean really recently, within the last week, changed it to Be the Iron Ministries. And there's a couple reasons for the name change. Number one, I am still unapologetically doing apologetics for Christ. But I think there's this general Christian ethic and Christian life philosophy I've had for a couple years now that I would always tell people at my church and a lot of family and friends that one of my goals in life is to be the iron. So, everybody as a Christian, everyone should be the iron. This is based off Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And my goal in life is to, in whatever Christian position you are, whatever Christian denomination you are, to sharpen you up in conversation with me, so that no matter what theological bent you take in support of Christianity, you'll be the very best form of it. So I'm not a Calvinist, but whenever I interact with Calvinists, I want to make sure they're the very best and most logical, most philosophically deep form of Calvinism. When I talk with more charismatic people, I want to make sure they can make the best argument for a charismatic doctrine. And of course, if people realize that they can't do one, I'm like, all right, well then change your understanding to match the Bible more. So no matter what, I always want to strengthen Christians. And of course, also people who are non-Christians, I want to sharpen them to the point where they can see the truth of Christianity. So I do that in a lot of different ways. I just graduated with my master's in Christian apologetics a week ago. Thank God. Just got my master's. So I really thank God for pulling me through that. It was like a whole week. My fiance knows it was a whole week just each night reading like 250, 300 pages of readings a night for an entire week just to get the final done and the essays and everything. So thank God I'm done with that until I do my PhD, but that'll be a year. So I'm good with that for a little bit. And I thank you so much, Yusuf. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's good. It'll be fun to start the PhD eventually. But on my channel, God has gotten me through so much, and he's brought me through so much throughout my life, from my experience in Pentecostal charismatic circles, then to Reformed circles and some other circles in the mix. So I've been all over the place as a Christian, but I really appreciate that God has brought me to a place where I can study theology, apologetics, and really show the defensibility, reasonability, and the power of Christianity. It's true, it's good, and it's beautiful. So I've got, as you can see, I started in September. and I've had 615 videos since then. I make a lot of shorts. And they can be on anything. They can be on the resurrection of Christ and the historical evidences for it. They can be on the prominent Christian apologetic positions, the cosmological argument. I have a lot of videos on political philosophy too, and so I explain some of the differences between Democrat versus Republican and how those are very different from liberalism versus conservatism, just to explain to people the differences in philosophical positions. And then, as a Christian, how can you participate in the world as it is in a way that's Christian without letting your political philosophy become predominant over your Christian philosophy? The Christian philosophy must always be primary. So I have a ton of shorts that are usually quite spicy, in which I explain either the issues with Islam, usually, and I love this one from Mossab Hassan Yusuf. I show a lot of the issues with modern culture and how a Christian ethic could fix that. The inconsistency of modern political opposition to Christian ethics, the necessity for freedom of speech so that Christians can speak their mind in public spaces, the power of various Christian arguments. So anything, and just about anything that I can use and show as a Christian ethic, I really do try to show that. And so yeah,
and it keeps going.
It keeps going. Trust me, it's just going to keep on going. I have a bunch of random Bible memes, just a ton of Bible memes, a ton of random political memes. So it's all a ton. But I'm hoping now I've had a lot of shorts. I'm hoping now to do more live streams and videos. That way people can have slightly longer content than just shorts. Now that my grad school is over, I want to do more 5 and 10-minute videos that are more edited and polished. And so I'll have some on the sanctity of life coming up. I'm going to have a whole debate series coming up on my channel because I am a high school teacher that teaches my students how to debate using scripture. And so I've done with my students from last year to now about 100 debates that I participated in on a ton of different topics. And I'm hoping to show a lot of the PowerPoint presentations and walk through a lot of these debates just to give a bunch of my viewers, especially Christian viewers, a little bit of practice in how to debate well, how to argue reasonably, and how to understand the scripture logically so as to support specific Christian positions. Because I think Christians have to know how to be sharp. We have to know how to pierce these false arguments and cast them down whenever they try to rise themselves above the knowledge of Christ. So I do a whole lot of stuff there. Whole lot.
Well, thank you for your work. And if you guys want to check that out, it is now under a new name. I had to contact him earlier today, be like, did you change your name on me last second? Because all my notes were your old name. And now we got some weird channel here that doesn't even have the same picture as the old one did. So if you want to check that out, go ahead. The link is in the description as well as the live chat for your guys' convenience.
Yes. Oh, and one last thing real quick. I almost forgot.
Name it.
There's that little link right there. On that blue link is for this education resource I have for people. If anybody wants some good theological resources for homeschooling, I think homeschooling is beautiful. I never had a chance to do it, but I've done research on it. I love homeschooling. And if anybody ever wanted some good theological resources, Bible study resources, apologetics resources that you could walk through with your child, even with your high school age children, I made a ton of the ones I've done for the high school students. I've just converted them over to make it accessible for the general public. So if anybody knows a homeschool group that's looking for homeschool resources that are specifically Christian and apologetics and philosophy, then feel free to check out the link and get whatever resources you need. I'm posting tons every day.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that, as well as all the work you're doing on that end. So since we have now gone through the guests who have joined us so far, we're going to go ahead and continue on to some of the people on the list that I have that haven't quite joined us. If they join us later, I'll let them give their presentation. I do see Womb to the Tomb Apologetics in there, saying if we don't do Nacho Libre, he won't subscribe.
That one's too obvious.
I'm assuming that one's going to John there. I will recommend it, but we'll see what he does with it. But that would be a fun one to do. There are a lot of good movies out there that have good Christian themes, and whenever he mentioned that was a concept he wanted to put forth, I decided, you know what, I'll do it, and I'll co-host a little bit for a little bit of time and then see where it goes. So I've been joining him regularly on there. So let's go ahead and check out our next one on the list. Now, this one actually has done work with both John and I. This is Breakfast Gun. It's a little smaller channel. Normally does music in the background sort of stuff. He has done some music for me as far as what I've used in definitely the skits that we did. David, he does the music that's at the beginning of the skits that we do. He helped out with that. So I appreciate it. So check him out.
I love Breakfast Gun. I also love Breakfast Gun's comments. Whenever he's on one of these things, I don't know, it's just funny. He's cool.
Oh, it's hilarious. Yeah. So, but yeah, he's helped out. I know he's done some work with Elle. So appreciate the work that he has done. The music that he has presented. So if you're interested in what he's coming out with, go and check out his subscription. I mean, he's got 116 subscribers. We can get a little better than that. Come on, guys. A little bit better. Boost it up a little.
No, I'm going to subscribe right now. And everybody should
There you go. Got one. There you go. Got one. There you go. That's the kind of the object of this live stream. Just highlight different channels. Let you guys know what YouTube's not telling you, because let's be honest, YouTube doesn't push these channels. These are Christian channels. A lot of times we're blacklisted. Okay, so it's now our job as the church to come by each other and say, hey, look at this. Pay attention here. These guys are the guys who you might be interested in and can help you with your walk with Christ. It might be worthwhile supporting.
Amen. I also
So
just
we've got
subscribed to Alliance on the Path. Right on, Josh.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I'm going to subscribe to all these as soon as I'm on my phone doing this, so I can't get on them now. But I'm very interested in. I've been getting into a lot of apologetics and wrestling with God in the Old Testament and things like that. So I'm very interested in that.
Nice,
So,
brother.
yeah,
That's cool.
These channels here are, again, they're very varied in every walk of life, because we all come from different perspectives. We all bring something new to the table. And if it's God's calling on your heart, he has you there for a reason. Let's be honest, I did not figure I would be doing this originally. This is the last thing I would have actually wanted to do, is sit here and talk to people. I'm not a social person, but here I am.
I was going to pursue my male model career, but I decided to do this instead. It was a tough decision.
Oh, hard one. Coin flip. One way or the other. And the male modeling agencies never lost out on a big deal there. So, okay. We'll roll right on to our next one here. Now, this one's someone that I've been wanting to meet, but have not been able to meet yet. But he was highly recommended. I was like, oh, I'll go check him out. And there we go. So I was actually going to meet him earlier this year, but it ended up not happening. He ended up sick. He was speaking at a conference. I was going there. I was excited. And nope. He unfortunately was unavailable to be there at the time. So, which it's fine. I mean, that happens. Believe me, I've had to take quite a few sick days. But I'd like to do something with him in the future. We'll see what happens. But if you want to, I mean, for what the stuff he puts out, he's definitely underrated. And someone who's underrated is someone who's not getting the publicity. YouTube's not pushing them as much as they should be. Definitely with the quality that they're putting out. So I'd highly recommend you guys go check this channel out. So, I mean, here's vocab on it. I've seen one with David Wood. Guys, go check this guy out. He's got good work. YouTube's not helping him out very much. So we as the body of Christ need to help each other out. And yes, I see that from my panel. They could just say it themselves.
It's good for the algorithm. More comments I put in the live stream, usually the better for the algorithm.
That's true.
I wish my words spoken, but I don't know if YouTube's that advanced quite yet.
I doubt that.
Yeah.
Although they make many suggestions which are very questionable. Very questionable.
Mm-hmm.
Saying I should focus on goat content on my channel. No. Those were a couple of videos. I am now leaving it alone. Goodbye. Hopefully. We'll find out.
Wait, that's actually hilarious. You are the goat.
That's what they suggested. I was like, oh my goodness.
Maybe you should
I saw that
into
right
this.
before I jumped on here. I was like, no way. I got to mention that on the live stream. No. I might have made a few goat models, but no. And the tree might have been designed by goats with a desire for Quran paper. And they scream occasionally if I get them to work right. There you go. But no, my channel is not about goats. Just being clear, YouTube, no. You can suggest all you want. It's probably not going to happen. So
I had some goats in my video recently. I wonder if they're going to start doing that for me.
I don't know. Maybe YouTube's going to the goats. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe that's the secret to the algorithm, right?
Yeah, maybe it is. What? See, the comment here, Epic. Yes, I would say greatest of all time. Yeah, sure. Okay, I could go with that. But that's not what they're showing me. I don't think they know what they're doing. Okay. So go ahead and check out Tony's there. We'll see if I can get him on the channel sometime. Hopefully we can talk and go from there. I'd be very interested in a couple of his perspectives, well as maybe even hanging out sometime if I can catch him at a conference. So again, the link is in the description. I believe I posted. Yes, I did. We're good. Checking out the next one on the list. Now, this is one that I have promoted before, but he still needs to be promoted. The Christian Sodium channel. Oh my goodness. Got to make sure I get that right. But go and check out his content. He has been along with us a while. His videos are pretty engaging. They do pretty good theology, taking apart. I'd recommend taking a look and seeing if it's something that fits you. If not, then not. But hey, he has been faithful as far as his channel goes, and he's got some pretty good content. So I would be remiss if I did not recommend him. So there's the link in the chat there for anyone that wants to check it out. Let me put it on TikTok as well, because this is going to YouTube and TikTok. And TikTok, this is by far the nicest live stream I've ever done. Okay? You don't need to ban me for another week. Okay? There's no Quran ripping. There's no desecration happening so far. I think it's very unlikely that it would happen. Don't look at the tree. The tree's already done. Okay? That's already been happening. Okay? Be nice.
The most interaction you might get because of that tree is actually all the Christmas is pagan people. So when you get down to it, you might not even worry about too many Muslims this time.
I know. I got a video coming up that's making. I accidentally made a pagan Christmas tree. And there you go.
because
I gotta do that. It's hilarious.
Wait, that's a good way to get everybody to respond. That's awesome. That's really smart.
I'm not even going to mention the Quran or anything about it. I'm just going to show the tree and let them take it from there. and we'll see what happens with that one. So that video will be coming out sometime before Christmas. So let's go ahead and hit our next one on here. Now, unfortunately, I did not actually invite him to the live stream. I forgot to invite this gentleman to the live stream, but this is Usama Duck Duck. If you've not heard him, he's been at a couple of the last 2 Seek and Share Truth conferences that my wife and I have hosted. That, not really hosted, but organized and did up. And he is very good, very in-depth. But be ready because he goes long. Just full disclosure there. You're not talking about a quick video or a quick conference. You're talking about a lot with enough information to, believe me, you will need to sit down and digest it. It will take some serious time.
He's amazing. I still feel bad for what happened. Usama, if you're watching this, I still feel bad. I'm sorry. I know it's like almost 6 months after. I still feel bad about it. I'm sorry. I'm better with technology now, okay? I swear. If you're watching this, I need you to understand. I don't know what happened. We've never had that issue before, okay, with the button. Number 1. Number 2, I know at every other church you went to, it worked fine. I don't know what happened. I know that's a restatement of number 1, but still. Number 3, I'm sorry. I don't know. I just felt so bad because the audio was playing over him like 2 or 3 times. It was at this
I've already said Phil and everyone else in the live chat that wasn't there for this event.
I'm so I'm
myself, I was even there.
It's gonna sound like I did a horrible crime or something. So feel free to edit this if you want to and make it sound like I'm a horrible criminal. What happened was at the conference over the summer at my church, Usama was one of the speakers. An incredible presentation. One of my family's favorites because a lot of my family came to that conference. And yeah, during his presentation, he has this clicker and he has it connected to the main computer for the church, and everything should have naturally just every time he clicked, it was supposed to go to the next slide. But because of an issue with the mouse on the head computer not being on the PowerPoint, it wasn't always going whenever he would. So I would have to do it manually. But as I would do it manually, I realized afterwards that I would reactivate it so that when he would press his button, I didn't have to press the arrow anymore. I didn't know, though, so I would press the arrow to move the PowerPoint along. At the same time, he pressed his button. So then sometimes it would play the audio. Each of his slides has audio. So it would play the audio like twice, doubled over, or it would play it too fast and go to the next slide when he wasn't done with the slide. And it was just a mess, and people in the audience were laughing, and it was just... And I just felt so bad. And he shouts from the other side, they're cutting me off. They're racist. And it was the funniest thing ever. But he's a really cool guy. He's hilarious. He's so funny. He's brilliant, by the way. To be very clear, God gave this man an incredible mind. My homeschool curriculums are nothing compared to what this guy's done, to be very clear. This guy's stuff is like really good. Mine are just focused more on like philosophical apologetics and theology. But his stuff is on like the issues with the education system. Which is kind of why I'm trying to make homeschool curriculums, because of his stuff. He made such a good job convincing me about the issue with modern academics that it convinced me I need to make homeschool curricula for parents who don't want their kids to be indoctrinated into false beliefs about Islam and atheism and whatnot. So his stuff is so powerful that it convinced me to make an entire curricula and to make it available to parents online. His stuff is really, really a blessing. And I'm sorry, Usama, I'm really sorry.
Yep. So yeah, Usama's got a quick wit. He's quick to engage, and he is absolutely fun just to listen to whatever topic he's talking about. One of the few people that I could sit down and just listen to him for hours and be like, oh, we're a couple hours in already? Wow, that was fast. So engaging, good, as long as the clicker's working and David's not in the back. So if you see David, I get a little nervous about the presentation. Okay, just say.
I mean, that's 100% fair. I can't even say anything against it. That's 100% fair. That issue didn't happen at a single other church. I was the main detail and factor, so that's not even off.
So, yep, go subscribe to him if you want to check out what content he has. And also, if you would do me a favor, go to one of his go to his latest video and say, David S. apologizes for the technical difficulties. Just leave that and just let it be. Just post that in the comments. Let the algorithm focus more on his video because you're posting on
Just spam it. I mean, just like
Just
full
spam
approval
that
on my end too. Just spam over and over. David S. is sorry about the audio. He's gonna be like, "Who is this guy? Like, what are you talking about?"
Now go check out stuff. It is fantastic.
So a little bit of a tangent real quick because we're busy David S. hating, but he was talking about how Usama's stuff is even better than his own homeschooling content. I was thinking, wait, but now that David S. has his master's, like, so Dr. David Wood is Dr. David Wood because he has a doctorate, but David has his master's now, David S. So are we supposed to call him like Master David S.?
That would be really strange. Don't do it. Call me David. People will think they'll think I'm like a Taekwondo master or something. It'll be weird.
Master David.
I only have a yellow belt with a green stripe in Taekwondo. I can't reach that status. I don't know what you call people with a master's degree. I don't know. I'm guessing you just call them like dude or ma'am, fella or bro. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure.
So we'll go ahead and leave that one there. If you guys want to check out the channel, go ahead. Usama definitely needs more subscribers than what he's got because, man, that guy's got some sweet stuff on there, and that needs to be in everyone's feed. So let's go ahead and move on over to our next one in line here. Share this one. This one's someone that I've worked with previously a little bit with John on. This is the Culture Crusader, and does very similar. Does a lot of the movie reviews, does a lot of that sort of content from a Christian perspective, the same as John does. And I just love how their perspective is on how critical the culture actually is. How we as a church have kind of taken a back step, let the culture just slide to wherever it wants to go. And he's saying, no, we need to re-establish this and take it back. And not like hostile, I'm going to cut off your head style, but no, we need to establish ourselves and be participating in this. So if you want to check him out, here's his content. Again, he does the movie reviews, so you've got like One Piece. I know I watched some of his stuff on the Acolyte. Like some of his stuff there. So I recommend checking him out and seeing what's going on there. I'm actually not subscribed. I thought I was. There. Now I am. See? Go do what I did. Go subscribe. So don't be silly like me and go through all this. Yeah, so again, culture is critical. Without culture, we will lose at least our society, if not more, and our children in the process. So pay attention. And tell you truthfully, I can't do everything. So even though I might be focusing on Islam and my forte might be in that, hey, look at this guy. He's taking this on. Go check him out for that sort of avenue, as well as John. There you go. So the link is in the live chat if you guys want to check that out. And let me put it over on TikTok as well. There we go. So check him on out there if you want to have a Christian perspective on that. So let's go ahead and we'll move right along to the next one. Go through this quite quickly. Now, I've noticed some in the chat. I've noticed like a couple of our lists. Yeah, there's Christian Sodium channel. Hey, we already covered you. So, nope, but you're welcome to join if you want to give spiel. Actually, I do see you earlier on. I scrolled on up. Do see you there. Okay. So again, I sent out invites. If you didn't get it, I apologize. I blame David S. for the technical difficulties.
I actually hacked in just... Yeah, I mean, honestly, I actually hacked in earlier. I bypassed the firewall and hacked into the mainframe, just so I can cause some issues with all the other Christian channels. Guys, I'm a sore loser. If I don't get all the subscribers right now, then everybody else's channel goes to 0. I'm going to make it happen. Except for Usam, I've messed with him enough.
So we'll go ahead and move on to our next one here, which is actually, he is in the live chat. And this is, share this tab instead. Yes, there we go. So from womb to tomb, Apologetics. So if you guys want to check that out, he's got what looks like a debate coming up. Debate with Nadir and Samuel Green. I think Samuel could do better. Let's be honest. But I mean, I guess you gotta give Nadir credit. At least he keeps stepping up. I've debated him myself on Recent Answers channel on does Islam promote slavery? And Nadir immediately got on there and said, yep, it promotes slavery. But it's not the slavery you think it is. And then proceeds to try to redefine slavery live in front of everyone.
It really was the fastest win I've ever seen. I mean, I was watching that, brother. I was, because you shared it with me. I was watching it as it was happening, and I remember typing at the beginning of it in the comment section, "Oh, so it's over." Like I actually said, "Oh, that's the end of the debate."
That's it.
Like I don't know if you guys have ever heard of like you didn't even get to yours. I was surprised, but I don't know if anybody in the comment section has ever heard of speedrunning. Speedrunning is when you try to get through a video game like super duper fast by skipping through a lot of cutscenes and storylines and stuff like that. Well, that moment, it felt like what was happening was a type of like debate speedrun. He started out saying, yes, anyways. And I'm like, hold on, wait a second. So you just concede? Oh, let's just end the debate now because he just ended it. It was very strange. I mean, Nadir is really good for... Okay, well, whenever you start a sentence like that, be careful about the other part. But Nadir
I'm waiting.
Yeah. Nadir is very good for outing Islam, even though he doesn't know that. Now, sadly, he is also very bad at representing Christianity correctly, but he is really good at outing Islam for what it is at times. So sometimes he keeps on accidentally showing what Islam really is, even when he's trying to do the exact opposite. So it's interesting. Nadir is an interesting character.
I'd say that's probably Nadir's best quality, is that he's actually honest in some regards to what Islam actually says. Now, he'll try to make claims like the Bible promotes, slave beating monsters. That's what he tries. It's like, no, but if you look at Islam, though, here you go.
His wording is so specific because, legitimately that confused me. His wording is so particular. Things like wife beating and propagating slave culture and racism. His language is so specific that it's two possibilities. Either he's doing pure projection, as in he literally can't psychologically accept the fact that Islam promotes this in the way that everybody understands it normally. So he just projects on Christianity, number one. Or number two, Nadir is the most brilliant false Muslim ever. He's actually a Christian who's pretending to be a Muslim.
Yeah, he's a plant.
And so he's purposefully just, like maybe, he's trying to purposefully promote Christianity and he's trying to show, he's doing like a layup for Christians, basically. He's like, Christianity is, it supports slavery and wife beating and racism. And it's basically like a layup for us to say, well, no, we don't, but yours does. So either he's a brilliant Christian secretly, or he's just a Muslim who's constantly psychologically projecting. I don't know which one yet. I'm not sure.
He's a Muslim who's psychologically projecting. So
I have a question. You guys, sorry to interrupt. I have a question for you guys about Islam. That it's one of the newest claims I've heard I don't dive as deep into Islam. I've read the Quran when I was in my 20s. But there's something, I think the new claim is there's a copy of the Quran that's older than the New Testament is what they're saying now. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. You know, Muhammad lives 500 years after Christ. So have you guys ever heard that, or is that something that just popped up in my live stream?
I wouldn't be surprised if that's a claim that's being made, but it is so incredibly stupid.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know they say that he was prophesied in the Bible and everything. I still don't know which verse they're talking about, but
it's the part where it talks about false prophets. So when it says
my most popular video,
that's
my most popular
but...
video is that. It's hilarious.
It's true. So I will say, Josh, I think one of the forms of the argument you're talking about, what they'll usually say is this. They'll say, some copies of the New Testament are older than some parts of the, or some parts of the Quran are older than some copies of the New Testament, which is a nonsense thing, because it's like, we have a ton of copies of the New Testament, so who cares? But usually when they talk about that, they'll say, they'll make up a date and say like, the New Testament wasn't made until like 600 years after. They'll just make up a random number, and they'll say, look, parts of the Quran existed before the Quran existed, and it's the parts that they literally stole from the infancy gospel of Thomas, was it? Is that what
gospel
it was?
Of Thomas, yes.
Of Thomas.
Where Jesus
and they'll say, you see, parts of the Quran existed early on. It's like, well, number one, that's not early. The New Testament existed before the infancy gospel of Thomas. Number two, you just proved that it stole material from other pre-existing material. And number three, that's not the New Testament. And number four, the Quran was way later. And also number five, we know which Bible that they had at the time, which I know, brother, you already talked about. That was you said the Peshitta, right?
Peshitta.
Yeah. So we already have that. We already know what it was. And so obviously it's not the right. There's just so many issues with the claim that sometimes, and as you study this more, Josh, you'll come to see this, but sometimes there's so many logical and factual errors with Muslim claims that it's almost difficult to know where to start. And it's kind of brilliant. They're so bad at what they do that it's almost good, right? It's almost a good rhetoric. It's almost a good argument, because it's like, you're so wrong that I don't even know where to start. So you're kind of paralyzed. It's like option paralysis, for a lot of my students when they're selecting what college to go to. It's like, I got all these options. I don't know what to start with. And so you're paralyzed because there's so much you could choose and you don't know where to start. And so dealing with Muslim arguments is kind of like that. It's like, God has blessed you with this huge buffet, and you're like, well, where do I start? I got all these options that to choose, and I don't know where to start. Islam is a feast of falsehood, is what I would say. It is just a feast.
And that's honestly, I never have a problem, talking to the Muslims when they come on, because I just have a list of, not everyone, but when Jesus showed or claimed he was God, before Abraham was, I am, I and the Father are one. And then I have all the times when he accepted worship. And then, of course, when he exorcised demons under his authority and not the authority of God. And the problem I have, I think the biggest problem, because it takes so long and is such a complex issue, is something like, well, God was a moral monster. The Amalekites, I just did a long video on that, but it was 40 some minutes long, but it still wasn't long enough to even get to most of the arguments I wanted to make. But people will come up with that in a live chat. So I don't know if you guys have ran into this. How do you argue that type of thing briefly, not going into, look at Sodom and Gomorrah and the daughters of Lot, and this is why, he had to destroy the Amalekites, because they were attacking unprovoked, and they were pure evil, and they had the 400 years of iniquity. And I just am trying to figure out briefer ways to argue it, and that's been my biggest issue.
That's a good question. Oh, go ahead, brother. Yeah.
real quick here. Let's go ahead, and we've got him actually here with us. So welcome.
Just as a quick note on that question, stay tuned because that might be one of the
I
topics
have
of
finally arrived.
Truth and Seek and Share Truth conference in Ohio. Is God a moral monster?
Oh, great.
And it was also covered. Didn't John Newton cover some of that this past year too?
If God was a moral monster, yeah, he did cover some of that. Not sure if it was last year or some time ago. So, okay, well,
the last year's conference.
So, womb to the tomb, apologetics. What do you want me to call you? Because I'm not going to be calling you womb the entire time.
Well, you can call me Womb to Tomb Apologetics. How about that? By the way, also sorry for the interruption. I think I was on a delay there. Can I be heard okay now?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Perfect. Yeah. So my channel. I try to defend the Christian conservative and pro-life worldview. I try to have a little bit of fun with it. Try to have some memes and kind of funny clips and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's sort of entertainment mixed with apologetics. So yeah, I mean, if anybody has questions or whatever, I'd be interested to know though from Eric what it was that made you list me as an underrated channel.
Underrated channels. Well, the content that you're putting out is critical. We need to make that stand one way or the other. And I can't do it all. Done many pro-life videos on my channel as well as some with Elle on her channel. But there's only so many hours in the day.
Right.
So I can't do everything. I can't always hear everything that is happening out there in the world. So I did come across your channel. It's like, this stuff's pretty good. It should be out there more, but it's not yet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, that's, and I'm always putting out stuff on, a variety of niches. Obviously, I think, you cover a lot of the Islam stuff. I've been doing quite a bit of that lately. As you can see, I'm going to be moderating another debate with that, stuff like that. But of course, yeah, I do pro-life stuff. I do conservatism versus leftism, just all sorts of stuff. You can go to like the videos tab or whatever. You can just see various ones there, but there's all sorts of stuff. I'm always doing live streams and, trying to have a good time, trying to grow my audience so we can have a little more interaction. But yeah, it's always fun.
So are you actually
welcome to the Tomb Apologetics? You do pro-life stuff? This is sick.
Yeah.
If
you ever want me on your name comes from is it's actually a pro-life slogan. So
yeah,
from womb to tomb, we gotta protect life.
If you ever want me on your channel, let me know, because I do some debates with my students, and one of them was a pro-life, pro-choice argument. Because that's what they chose, and I got to do the pro-life position. I don't usually get to do the ones that I like, so it was one of the few times where I was able to support the position I actually agree with. And the debate went so well that almost all the students who were against me, which was all of them at the beginning of the class, by the end of the debate, they almost all changed their minds. So if you ever want me on your channel, you and I could definitely go through a lot of the biblical, biological. I have the whole presentation. I sent it to all my master's classmates, but have me on sometime. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be super cool. What was your channel name again?
Oh, mine is just Be the Iron Ministries.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I was looking through the list. I was like, this guy looks pretty cool. So yeah, maybe we'll do that. That'd be awesome.
That'd be fun. I'd love to be on your channel. That'd be cool, especially since yours is really pro-life, and I think that actually is fundamentally, culturally, and philosophically at the base of a lot of modern issues, or it's the fruit of the thing that's at the base of a lot of modern issues. So that's really good. That's really important work. More important than just the pro-life issue. It represents something much deeper.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. That's kind of the point of doing this, is like, let's get the word out there. So you said you have the debate coming up, which I definitely did see, and you're saying that you're actually hosting it.
Yeah. So I've been doing, I've had, when I've done Islam, I've had Reverend Samuel Green on most of the time. He's sort of the expert on that. He wrote a really good book, Where to Start with Islam, if people are interested in sort of the basics, learning the basics. But, we did the birthday live stream and various other things for the Quran. I know somebody else on here did that. But yeah, he's just really smart, and he's offered to do a debate with Nadir Ahmed, and they've been going back and forth. And so they're doing round 2. So first they did Muhammad do miracles? And now they're doing, is the Quran a scientific miracle? Which obviously is quite the popular one. Personally, it's not my favorite topic. I think that's kind of weird. I mean, okay, so it can predict things. There are people who've done that with the Bible, but I don't know. I've never found it to be a very convincing argument. But.
No, knowing the argument myself as well as all the details, because I've done quite a bit of work in that avenue. The Quran never specifically says that any of these are actually miracles. They're just something the Muslims later on took and applied, said, oh, see this here, we can make it kind of fit into this piece and make it kind of look like this was what it was intended. And I'm like, I write it, and it's like, I just valuing the words that are actually there and taking them at face value. That's not a claim the Quran is making at all. He never makes that. The Quran never makes the claim that there are scientific miracles in it. Those are just something that came along later on, and
switch over to the videos tab, the second tab, sure. And I'll show you. I did another video with him. This was a Halloween video, but it's the most recent one. The spooky superstitions of Islam, and there we talked about some of the sort of, again, superstitions that Muhammad had. Obviously, if you hover over the video, you see a funny clip. That's where we start talking about the bathroom jinn and sort of these sorts of hokey ideas that he had. And I don't know. To me, it seems weird to claim that the Quran is so scientific when the person who revealed it was so he just seemed superstitious. He seemed like he believed in all sorts of kind of odd things. You got to enter the bathroom with your left foot. You've got to, there's demons hiding in your toilet. This doesn't sound like a guy who knows science very well or any of that. But I don't know. It's an interesting argument, but
let's be honest. Last couple of years, we found out some things about the scientific miracles within the Quran from Ali Dawah.
Repeat it again, very carefully.
Oh yeah,
the scientific miracles argument in the Quran.
I like that. That's a catchy title right there. That first one.
We're proud of that. Yeah.
I thought it said Santa at first, and I was like, oh, because I'm on my phone, so I can barely see it.
It's good for this time of the year. You see that? That's a good attention grabber.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. My students laughed so hard at the whole Satan peas in your ears thing. They were like, I kid you not, it was maybe a month ago. I was telling them about some of the superstitious thought of Islam during our worldviews of ethics class, and they were laughing so hard. They're like, wait, so if you don't wash yourself the right way or go to sleep a different way, Satan's gonna pee in your ears? And I was like, yes, you see. And they were like, bro, who falls for this stuff? They were so funny. They were memeing on Islam really hard. Oh yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, and I mean it's one of those things where you have to balance it, because on the one hand you do want to prevent people from joining Islam because obviously that's not a true worldview, but you also have to balance it with, like, how do we show love of Christ? So there's kind of that tightrope, because some of it is just patently ridiculous. I mean, you hear it. I was just watching a video today. I don't know if it was by Eric or by someone else, but I was watching it. A Muslim teacher saying to his students that the Western world is underdeveloped because they're using paper to wipe their rear ends after the bathroom instead of rocks. I saw that. That's because Muhammad did that, right? And it's you want to be loving, you want to be kind, and obviously not every Muslim does that. Most of them probably don't. They look at you like, what are you talking about? But so you should learn the person that you're talking to when you're speaking to them. But it's sort of that tightrope of like, how do I say this without it embarrassing people, but also while exposing it for what it is, and it is ridiculous. So,
amen. I'm still learning that one. God sanctifying me for sure, because a lot of times when I'm just surprised by something that's illogical or inconsistent or unsubstantiated, my first response is just like, well, that's dumb, and I'm trying really hard to learn how to be a bit more loving to people and say, does that really make sense? I think questions do help, and I use that with my students when we're going through fighting kingdoms, not people, which is a section of our
Absolutely.
worldview class, fighting kingdoms, not people. And,
Yes.
and I'm like, just so you guys know, I have not yet reached, I have not yet arrived, so don't think I actually do this perfectly. But we should fight kingdoms and principalities, not people that are under the effects of it. And so questions can be better if you want to walk the tightrope. Just asking questions like, do you have evidence for that claim? What's the reason you believe in that? What do you mean by that? Does your book teach that, and where? And does that seem that important to you? Or would a perfect loving God with a universe of order, logic, and beauty allow for that? Just those kind of questions.
Yeah.
So the questions do make it a little bit easier.
Well, yeah, and I would even add on top of that, you can also talk about your own experiences and just comparing belief systems. One thing I was talking to a pastor about just the other day who lives out in Utah, where all the Mormons are. We were talking about how do we evangelize to Mormons, right? And I was saying, I think one thing you can do is sort of narrate the things that they might have anxieties about and that you don't have anxieties about. So like, obviously here with Islam, you can talk about, well, I don't have to worry about, demonic oppression every time I go to the bathroom. That's an interesting thing to learn about in your religion or something like that. But with Mormons, you might say something like, well, their concept of God is sort of, it's really more of a lowercase g God. He's not a maximally great being. And so, if I met a Muslim, I would say, or a Mormon, I would say, it's interesting, your concept of God. I've, as an apologist, I've come across a lot of atheists who will ask me the question, who created God, right? If everything needs a creator, who created God? And my response to them has always been, well, with respect, I think you misunderstand my beliefs. In my beliefs, it's everything that begins to exist has a cause, right? And so we would say that if everything in the universe began to exist, it had a cause. God doesn't have a beginning, and so he doesn't need a cause, and so he's sort of self-existent. But I'm curious with you, like with your concept of God as a Mormon, it seems like he's contingent. It seems like he's dependent on something else. He's not self-existent. And so if that's the case, it seems like that's a question that the atheist can say to you that takes a little bit more effort to answer. That isn't really the case with my religion. And so you see what I just did there? I just narrated my own perspective. I'm not even saying, oh, you're wrong or I'm right. Just narrating, hey, here's something that I don't have to worry about. I never have to go to bed, up, without not getting sleep because somebody asked me a question about Christianity. And so, if you make the switch, you don't have to have that. So kind of interesting.
And everybody knows in the future you're supposed to be using seashells to wipe, right?
What was
that
That's true.
Total Recall or something? I don't remember.
We're bringing it back, boys. We're bringing it back.
I'll pass.
Seashell economy. Seashell
the
economy. New economic boom for America. Stock markets go up crazy. All seashell companies start to make tons of money. Gold standard is back, boys. We are so back.
There we go.
So let's go ahead and move. We'll go ahead and move on to the next channel. Is there anything else you wanted to say, Womb, to the Tomb Apologetics?
Yeah, I guess I kind of asked this already, but which video did you watch that you liked so much? Because he either emailed me or he left a comment. He said, "You're on my list," and I checked it twice, which I can see he's a very jolly fellow. He loves his Christmas stuff. Who doesn't? So, but I'm just wondering, I'm like, man, of all the Christian YouTube channels, he picked mine. It's such an honor that the Goat Man picked mine. So, yeah, I don't know what was the video that really said to you, man, people need to know.
It was the debates that you were doing. I think it was with Samuel.
There we
was
go.
One of them. I was at one of Samuel's not too long ago, towards the beginning of this year.
Oh wow! Okay.
And
I have a quick question for you, Womb to the Tomb, and anybody wants to answer. But you get a lot of Christians with the pro-choice position.
I haven't met a lot of them online, but you definitely come across them in the world out there if you start talking to people who consider themselves to be personally pro-life. I would never have an abortion, but I don't feel comfortable telling someone else that they can't do that. That kind of person. Yeah.
That's actually how a lot of my students were. A lot of my students, because at the high school I teach apologetics, worldview ethics, Old Testament, New Testament, C.S. Lewis, and classes like that, which require a lot of debate to get the points across. For the pro-life arguments and pro-choice debate, which was amazing. Thank God, I loved it. So good. The students last year, because a lot of them were very pro-choice last year, after the debates, not so much, but their general feelings, they're high school students, so, they learn stuff from TikTok and their parents, but their general feelings were a reflection of their parents who said, some of them said, I would never get an abortion personally, but I just don't think we should legislate women's bodies. Or there's nothing in American history that legislates a man's body, which of course is patently wrong because we're incarnate beings. We have bodies, so all laws tell us what we can and can't do with our bodies, but whatever. Or they would say, well, yeah, it's her body, so it should be her choice, right? So maybe they'll just accept the arguments. They are Christian students. They are Christian students. Well, most of them. I know we have a lot of atheists in the school, but we have a lot of Christian students. And so, it seems like I've definitely met a lot of Christians who are in some way or another pro-choice, or at least they were. I guess a lot of them have changed their minds since the debate.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. And I think was our friend Josh here, were you going to ask, like, how do we respond to those people?
Oh, I was just curious because I try to go on as many different Christian sites, and they're not really all. I go into Reddit, I believe it was. I went on there today, and somebody was making the pro-choice argument, and they were as a Christian, and I was like, you guys understand that John the Baptist and King David and many other prophets had the Holy Spirit when they were still in the womb, right?
Well, I would ask that person right now, especially with Christmas time coming around, what is Christmas a celebration of again?
Yeah, exactly.
The answer to that is the birth of our Savior and God. So then I would follow up that with, do you think that Mary should have had the choice to abort Jesus? And, depending on their answer to that, you kind of know who you're dealing with. But I think that would get them thinking. And I think another thing you can do is just ask the person, why is it that you personally oppose abortion? Because when you ask that question, what you're doing is you're allowing them to sort of set up their own arguments to minds, because really what's going on is they just haven't fully thought through their own position. I mean, I did this one time with a Christian friend of mine. I asked him, what's your position on abortion? He said, well, I personally wouldn't, pay for one or get one or drive someone to get one, but I don't know if we should outlaw it for everyone. And I just asked him, oh, so why is that you personally wouldn't get one? For you personally, what is the reason? And his answer was, well, because it's killing a baby. And he didn't even get to the end of his sentence before he realized, oh, well, wait a minute. If I believe that, then I guess nobody should be able to do that. And then he just changed his mind right there. So, I mean, sometimes it's just those good questions that get people thinking. And
Yeah,
then
absolutely.
obviously on the men's bodies one, I mean, you might ask that person, are you familiar with the Selective Service Act?
Yeah, the draft. Yeah, that's
Because
Mhm.
as a male, you cannot vote unless you are allowed, or unless you allow the government to send you overseas to die in a war. So, I mean,
Yep.
that's one area, but either way, it kind of sidesteps the issue. You know, the
And
government
most of
doesn't
them are
allow men to
for
kill children.
government run healthcare, and
Right.
obviously forcing people to get the thing in 2021 that to participate in society. So yeah, it's definitely, it's a progressive Christian thing, which I don't necessarily consider them Christians. It's more,
Oxymoron.
yeah, exactly, yeah, jumbo shrimp right there. Yeah, for sure.
So, well, thank you. Womb to the Tomb Apologetics, thank you for the work that you're doing. And guys, if you want to support that and engage with the content that he is doing there, the link is in the description as well as in the live chat. I think he's got a lot of good perspectives there, and I think that might lead to some good call-ins once he is large enough to be able to get the opposite opinion in. So I know I've had some pretty fun pro-life discussions.
Absolutely.
With some people. Definitely whenever Roe v. Wade was overturned, I was able to go on TikTok, and anyone that was speaking bad about it being overturned, I was like, hey, I'm doing a live stream on this. Would you like to come and talk? Actually, I had quite a few people come and join and have a good conversation on it. Very productive.
You know, I'll just add one more thing really quick. I was actually at the courthouse when that decision came down, and it was very interesting seeing both sides and their faces when it happened. You know, obviously there was cheering on one side, the other side, very sad. One of them made an accusation that the pro-lifers they had a bomb or something like that. Obviously, and the cop came up to us and was like, we have to investigate this. And we're like, no, that's not, like, what are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, I know, but I have to investigate. But yeah, I mean, they were definitely pretty mad, but I think it's blown over now mostly. And we're chugging along, and we still got a little ways to go, but that's a major victory for sure.
You saw some weeping and gnashing of teeth for sure. You know, people said, "No, I can't kill my baby at will. This is the worst thing to ever." No matter what human rights tragedies happened, World War II. What even is that? This is the worst thing to ever happen to the world. You know, I always find that really funny, in like a twisted way. But I'm like, really, this is the worst thing to happen to human rights ever. Is the right to kill random innocent children? Okay, I mean, go off, King, I guess, but just ain't me. So that's interesting. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's,
and it was
that's
supposed to be state by state anyway. You know, I don't get them.
Well, yeah, that's what they make their god. So you know.
Yep. Absolutely, they do. Yes. I actually have to get out of here. I'm running out of daylight, and looks like they might come and kick me out of here. So. I really am honored to talk to all of you. I'm going to definitely subscribe to the ones that I think I'm subscribed to most of these channels already, most of your all's channels. But thank you so much for having me on, and I will be listening the rest of the time here.
Appreciate you joining.
Again.
Absolutely.
Love you, brother.
So the next,
God bless you all. Love you all.
The next channel we have on the list here is an interesting one. Show this one instead. Church Under a Rock. And he actually uses puppets. It's interesting. So one of the guys whenever I made a post about doing this live stream, it's like, hey, this guy here, you need to check him out. And I'm like, really? He uses puppets for apologetics? Oh, this is interesting. This is really interesting. So if you guys want to check him out, I would recommend it. Sounds pretty good from what I've heard. I haven't seen everything he makes, but it's definitely interesting. It's a different perspective.
Wait, go.
And I like new things.
Go back to the one where he had Idol Killer. Oh, he was the guy who talked. Oh, I know this guy. Oh, dude. Okay, I didn't realize
give it a
that.
spiel.
Oh, this guy's awesome. Okay, wait a second. I do know this guy. So he was. If you scroll down a little bit, a little bit to
Second here. Let me
where
do that.
that video right there. Thoughts on a conversation. So review a conversation between Atonement Theory with special guest Idol Killer. So I was watching that video and I saw that puppet in the background with the guy that was talking to Idol Killer. Because I watch every video, almost every video from Idol Killer. Amazing. And I saw that puppet in the background. I'm like, oh, I wonder what this guy does. I must have like tuned in too late because maybe they explained it at the beginning or something. But I saw that puppet, and now I see that he actually has this video on his channel. So I saw it on the Idol Killer side of it. I never actually saw it on his channel. So that's Church Under a Rock. That's so cool. Yeah, he's really interesting. He had a really good conversation with Idol Killer. Again, I love Idol Killer, so like, any conversations he does are pretty cool. But yeah, that guy was intelligent. I remember seeing him on there. It was like a bit of a live stream. It was over an hour. And so I enjoyed each moment of it.
So I guess it comes highly praised by David S. This has got the David S. stamp of approval. It's got my stamp of approval just because it's interesting and it's different. It's not the typical way of doing it. I mean, I would never do puppets. Well, maybe I would. I don't know. Maybe a puppet Muhammad. That actually sounds kind of cool. I might do that. Note for future. Okay. But other than that, I mean, interesting style, interesting presentation. I watched a couple of things that he did put out. I like them. So if you guys want to check him out, the link is in the description in the live chat. You're more than welcome to go check him out. See if it's something that will fit what you're looking at. Go ahead and, go support him.
Yeah, he looks cool.
So, and I know he was in the live chat. I know he's somewhere in the live chat. At least at the beginning he was. I don't know if he is able to join. He might join later, or if he's not, that's all good too. I know some of the invites I sent out, I was a little late on. So that's on me. So.
Hey, real quick, my
okay, let's
phone
go
is
ahead and move right on
so
the
I'm
good
gonna
ones.
bounce off.
Well, have a good one. I'll talk to you later. See you soon. So, now that we are on to our next one in our line here. This one's one that I've worked with before, actually for over a year. This is On the Road with Jesus with Rhodey Fisher. So I did do an interview with her. In fact, I think I've suggested David S. as another possible interview with her. But she normally does testimonies, dives into that. I think she's done one with Elle. I don't know. That might have fallen through. Or the timing just has never matched up. So, but she does quite a few of them. Let's see if I can get this to go. My computer's being a little on the slow side for me, but whatever. It's all good. There we go. So she has times their testimony. If you'd like to check her channel out, the link is in the description there. Oh. Everything good?
I'm good. Oh no, I'm the only one left. Well, I guess this is my live stream now.
And I'm back. Okay.
Yeah.
I had full control. I had full control of the channel.
Oh no.
You know what? That's how
A
you know you
womb to
can
tomb
trust.
takeover here.
That's how you know you can trust womb to tomb apologetics. With those couple of seconds, you really could have taken control of everything, stolen every
I know.
subscriber, and leave off like a bandit. But really, this was a test. Actually, I know Eric was just trying to test you. So
There we go.
that was a really good test, Eric. Very clever, and I'm sure the audience appreciates it.
It's all part of the plan.
Not
So
bad, not bad. Audience, what did you think? Did you fall for it? Let's see.
So David, did you also drop off or something?
I actually just pressed refresh to see if it was on my end the issue that happened, and then I realized afterwards, like, oh, it was just on your end. So yeah, I popped out for a second.
Well, I'm back. We're back, and I'll just restart the spiel because I probably gave the entire spiel just to myself, speaking to a camera all by my little lonesome. So I was talking about the next channel on our list is On the Road with Jesus with Rhodey Fisher. That's a mouthful, but it's an awesome channel.
And I thought my channel name was long.
Yeah.
That's why I just shortened mine. That's cool though. I like that. On the Road. That's awesome.
Now I've worked with her for over a year because I did the first video with her over a year ago on her channel. If you guys would like to check that out, go ahead and pull that up for you guys here. And a lot of what she does is just interviews talking, okay, this is a Christian content creator, this is what they do, this is what they're putting out, and this is their life story. So a lot of testimonies, a lot of engagement on that end. So if you guys would like to check that out, the link is now in the live chat there for you guys. Right here. There we go. Look at that. So you can check out her content there. I know she's done work. I think Elle's done a video. I think David S. I've sent her your information as a possible other person to interview. So we'll see what happens. And
Nice.
I really like the format. It's easy. It's laid back. It's just a happy go time. It really is. Just talking with friends. So,
Awesome.
Yusuf gives us a super chat, says thank you for all the work. May the Lord bless you and keep using you for his glory. Amen. Amen.
Amen, Yusuf.
So, yeah, check out her channel. Fantastic work she's done there. She's got a lot of people on there. So the next person in line is, and you should recognize her because we've had her on this channel before. It is Apostate of Allah. She's done some pretty good work on there. Really enjoy her perspective coming from her background. So again, she focuses a lot on Islam. And you know what? I'll just let her video speak for herself. We go there and check those out. Or she's more than welcome to join us whenever she wants to in future live streams as well, because she is a joy to have with the whole entire conversation. I think she adds a lot to it.
What drew you to her videos, or what was the one that sparked your curiosity in her?
I heard about her through David Wood and AP. And then I checked her channel out and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Okay. So I forget if she was already following me at that point or not. And then I've invited her on a couple of streams. So she's joined me. That would be how I got to know what's going on, what she had there. So So this one was one that was recommended. The next one's one that was recommended, which is Think for Christ. I watched some of their videos. I really like how logically, it just breaks everything down logically. And if you guys like that, And this might be a channel for you guys as well to take a look at.
Big need for it. I mean, I'll tell you this, looking at my students, we do need, and if there's any parents watching this, I don't know how many parents are part of your demographics, but if there are any parents watching, please understand, I know this from my students. Again, I teach at a Christian school, a Christian high school. But I'll let you know that doesn't mean much, especially at the beginning of last year when I first started teaching there. There were a lot of people who were not really Christian. There were a lot of people who were openly atheistic, although after last year and a lot of discussions, a lot of Bible teaching, a lot of apologetics, I explained the foolishness and idiocy of atheism as a self-destructive pseudo-philosophy. But aside from that, a lot of these people who go to church consistently, every Sunday or every couple Sundays, and a lot of these people who are surrounded in a Christian culture, even a Christian school, they don't know how to think deeply about their own faith or about the scripture or about God, about Christ, about anything in the scripture, anything that's philosophically or theologically relevant. So just understand, you do need supplemental methodologies and methods of approaching a deeper understanding of Christ, of the Bible, and that can be teachers in person, teachers online. So if Think for Christ is, as written there, nurturing the Christian mind, developing a more deep, robust understanding of Christ, that's awesome. That's way more needed, especially for our young people, than we often speak about. So please understand that.
And I think one of the videos that I watched of his was specifically talking about how a lot of times it seems that it's opposites, where thinking logically seems to be anti-Christian, at least portrayed as being anti-Christian or anti the Bible. And it's like, no, it's not. It's together. It's one. You should be able to think of it logically. In fact, you're challenged in the Bible to say, if you're listening to a pastor and the pastor says something that seems off to you, investigate it, look into it, and then confront him about it. Come to him and say, hey, how do you explain this section when you say X and I'm reading here, it says Y, and it doesn't seem to line up. Can you explain your thinking on this? Not as a confrontation, I'm going to take it to him, but as, hey, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page here, and your theology and my theology aren't going off the rails some way. We're challenged to be each other's keepers in this regard.
Amen. I mean, if we don't have logic, how do we approach theology? How do we approach right thinking? How do we rightly divide the word of God if we don't have considerations for reason, which is what we use for rightly dividing things, or logic, right? Logic, the laws of logic aren't created laws. They're expressions of the essence and the nature of existence itself, right? So the laws of logic are expressions of the nature of God, right? That he is, that he cannot not be, and that he is true and not false. So the laws of logic are essential to the nature of God. They're expressions of the nature of God. And as a result, a Christian who believes that God is truth must believe that God's very essence, his very existence, is the foundation from which the expressions, which we call the laws of logic, flow out naturally and essentially and eternally. So Christians must know how to think logically. If we want to think theologically, fun fact, it's in the word. You got to think logically. You got to think logically to think theologically. And so, the Christian Studium channel is exactly right. I also cringe when my students last year, some of my Christian students would say, you just have to have faith. I'm like, okay, define that. What does that mean, right? Because, you can have faith that has reasons for the faith. Don't get me wrong. Some people have blind faith. You see that in a lot of communities, some Christian communities, especially in Muslim communities, where they say, well, I believe because my family does. But that doesn't mean you have to be like that. You can believe because of, like the apostles believed because of what they had seen, evidence, right? So you can take an evidentialist approach, a classical logical approach. You can say, I believe because of the truth that has been displayed and demonstrated to me. And then I accept the authority of God and the authority of God's word based off of the reasons that have been demonstrated to me through logic. So yeah, I totally agree with the Christian Sodium channel. Cold Case Christianity. I have that set somewhere.
Perfect.
All three of them, they're really good for that. and they have pictures. In my grad school, you know how many of my books had pictures? Like maybe 1 out of 40 or something. I love Cold Case Christianity. It had pictures and drawings in it. It was the coolest thing. I don't care if I'm an adult. My books better have pictures in them. I need that stuff.
So if you want to check out Thinking for Christ, you're welcome to go see what he's got there. Again, test it yourself. Decide if it's something you want to pursue. If it is, go ahead. Maybe you found another channel that will have content you want to, look at, listen to, and maybe some new good theological points. Who knows? So let's see here.
I think I'm going to have to leave after this next one because
Sure.
it looks like my fiance made the dinner ready. So after this next one, I'll flash out. Yeah.
So,
cool.
okay. So the next one here, you should be familiar with this one, David. Who are these people?
They're so cool, dude. They're so cool. They're also so cute because I think they got married in seminary, right? Didn't they get married in seminary?
I don't know. I'm
pretty sure that's what happened. Daughter of Christ and J Apologetics. He met her while he was in seminary, and as a seminary grad, I just gotta say, seminary is awesome. And now there's another reason, because now apparently you can meet your future wife in the process, like Jay did. So that's cool. These two are brilliant. They've been brilliant for a long time, and now they're brilliantly together and doing great videos on Islam, apologetics to Islam, some videos on, I think, atheism as well here and there, and like the weird love relationship, or at least they talk about it in some live streams, between liberalism and Islam, like the weird relationship they have. But I just love their apologetics videos. They're brilliant. So fun and cool live streams.
Oh, yeah. So if you want to check them out, go ahead. I've ran into them just through the apologetics groups that we've had. I've run it since we both kind of deal with Islam. That ended up coming up, and their name was there. So that I was like, man, I got to include it. They're definitely on the list. And I checked because this list, to be honest with you, I had some requirements. It had to be less than 20K subs. They must be active, pretty active. I did make one exception. And they must post their own content. You can't just be reposting someone else's, and it's just a repost channel. It's like, I'm not going to promote that, but if you got your own stuff, well, let's go ahead and do that. And the last thing, it's got to be in English because I need to understand it. Just putting it out there. So welcome back.
Sorry, guys, I lost internet.
Oh, you're good.
That's all right. You're going to take my place. Womb to the tomb. You're going to take my place because I'm dashing for some dinner.
Well, plug your channel one more time. What's the name again?
Oh, yeah. My channel's new official name is Be the Iron Ministries. Based off Proverbs 27:17. Be the iron. Basically all Christians should be the iron that sharpens each other, be the iron that sharpens another. And so whether it's Christian to Christian or Christian to non-Christian, we should always desire to edify, build up, either in sanctification with other brothers and sisters, or in, God willing, bringing some people to a greater understanding of Christianity so they could more fully accept the fullness of Christ in the gospel.
And I look forward to having you on the live streams with us again, since now you have more free time, and it should be a blast.
Yeah, no more 600 pages to read a night. I'm chilling for a bit. I'm good.
Yeah, only 500.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe 400 if it's an easy night. All right. God bless you all. Love you, and I'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
So we were on Jai and DOC Apologetics. Share this one again if you guys want to check that out. They're definitely in the same group that Elle and myself are as far as dealing with Islam. So if you want to see their stuff, I know they've had some issues recently, but they got good content. So go check it out. So, and then let's see, next one on the list here is Free Thinking Ministries. Again, along the same line as just thinking things through, applying logic to the Bible, not having it something that is separate from one another, although the world definitely wants that to be the case. So here we go. You finally emailed me. Oh, good. I might just send you the invite to the live stream, since I've had
Because
that.
he finally emailed you. I emailed you like 50 times. I felt bad. I was like, am I email bombing this guy?
No, you're fine. It's all good. It's all good. I'll check it whenever I check it. So, yeah, so Free Thinking Ministries, that one, again, is a lot of just applying the logic to it. So let me reply to the Sodium channel. Link, there we go. There we go. Reply to you so you can join. And then you can give your spiel for your channel yourself, which makes it easier. So going back to Free Thinking Ministries, again, I like when it's just, here's the logic, here's how to, it's not separate, and here's it applied to the Bible. And it steps you through it. I enjoy that greatly. So I'd recommend checking him out, see what he's got. He's got some stuff on the Shroud of Turin. Got a lot of stuff in here, a lot of guests coming on. Again, I haven't seen all of it. I haven't watched his one about Matt Walsh's racist thing. Am I racist? Although I did a review on that movie myself with John on his channel. But I'm curious. I'll have to watch that after this. That's on my to-do list now. Get to watch that one. So let's see. So let's see here. Another one we've got. This one is recommended, so I was going off a recommendation for this one. Looking Up for Him. So Looking Up for Him is the name of the channel. It's got interesting things. It looks like he's doing mostly vertical, like videos. I'm not sure if he was trying to do shorts, and I've listened to quite a few of the ones that he's put out. Seems to be pretty good biblical based. Information seems to be down to earth. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the vertical, but if you're a fan of the vertical, here you go. This is actually one for you. I even did vertical live stream for a while. Everyone seemed to hate that, but hey, if you guys want to do some, here you go. He's got an interesting perspective. It's all about just him on the ranch and what God has revealed to him through that options. So check it out if you want to see that. And Christian Sodium channel, I have sent you the email. So you are more than welcome to join. MMA fighter as well. I don't know which one he is referring to with that one. Might have been the last one. That would be interesting. I did not know that, but that is interesting. So here we go. This is another one you guys suggested, and I looked into it and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Did her deep dive into some of her thoughts. She gives a lot of perspective on theological topics. She's a theologian, so she tries to, and I'm interrupting myself. Yes. Wonderful wife. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have a perspective?
Oh, my phone stopped overheating, so I jumped back in.
Oh, okay. So that's simple. Now, she has an interesting perspective. I watched her response to Mike Winger's on feminists, basically being, women being pastors in that role. And I really liked some of the things that she pointed out. I thought it was fantastic. So if you guys want to check out what she has there, I'd recommend stopping on by, seeing what she has put out. And I'd recommend you might want to check her out as well. My lovely wife. See what she's got there. Maybe even do a co-video or something together. That would be interesting. Oh, the fun stuff coming out of this one. So let's see here. I don't know if I want to do his. I guess I do his. So we're actually at 18 now. So the next one will be number 18 as far as what we've recommended.
Oh boy.
So we're almost done. I'm moving my 19 to 18. There actually isn't any rhyme or reason to how these were ordered. It's just how I clicked on them. That was it.
Except for in the description, number 1 is me, which of course is objectively indicating that I am the best.
I'm going to move you. I'm going to move you to the end.
A what? No.
I'm going to make it a -1.
Oh,
that's going to be a number. -1.
There we go. That must be turbo epic. That must be the best.
So, welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
So,
is that
go ahead
Q from Star Trek?
Yes, it is.
Epic.
Yeah, I've been using this as an avatar since I've been online, basically. So for me, it's kind of like a running gag, rather than because everybody's like, "Well, what are you using some kind of satanic being as like your avatar?" And it's like, well, it sort of keeps me in mind, because the idea of what Q sort of always represented in Star Trek is a running theme throughout all of Star Trek, because usually it's like the idea that humans want to become like God. And so, and then if you look at the history of like all human culture, that's basically still the running theme. So it just seems fitting to me just to kind of keep a light on that. Yeah, just to keep a reminder, I guess. But yeah, it's more of a joke than anything.
So you want to tell us a little bit about your channel and why you're doing it?
Yeah, I got kind of thank you so much for doing this, obviously. And yeah, back in so I became a Christian in 2009-ish at a Bible study and etc. And before that, I was into a lot of different styles of paganism, like actively practicing from the time I was probably like 14 until I was like in my 30s. At that point, at one point, it kind of dropped off a bit for various reasons, and then yeah, I knew a few Christians who I sometimes liked arguing with, and at one point, but yeah, fast forward to I think I guess COVID sort of instigated. One day I wanted to read something that there was no audio book for, because when I had started reading the Bible originally back in 2009, I had bought the Bible on audio, so just sort of making audio books became like a just sort of something just that I was like, if I like reading this stuff, I might as well just read it, and then if I record myself doing it, just so here and yeah, just kind of fell into that, and especially when COVID started, that's when I was like, okay, let me start doing this. And then once I started doing the Church Fathers, yeah, it just became something that I just felt absolutely like I just enjoy doing. And so and now I've started working my way up from the earliest the earliest Church Fathers, and then I don't know how far I'm going to get, because now that I've hit Cyprian, it's like some of these guys, like, there's so much work for a lot of this. But yeah, it's at the same time I'm learning a lot doing it, so I'm more kind of doing this for myself. But at the same time, if I can sort of get people engaged in it, and plus I enjoy giving commentaries on it sometimes, because yeah, I guess I would be classified as a Protestant, but I don't when I came into Christianity, I originally just sort of was independently grabbing what I could, just learning stuff offline. Again, back in like 2009, 2010, I didn't even call myself a Christian up until that point. Until I became comfortable with it, with understanding what I thought that I understood that it was, and then I realized the different divisions with Catholicism, Eastern Orthodox, different forms of Protestantism. And so, yeah, but I guess technically I would be a Protestant, but reading these early guys really puts it into a lot of perspective as far as what the gospel was doing. Because God is living, Christ is living, he's the living God. And so you can see that You can see him, you know, and all you can, you know, you recognize him when you see him. So that's why I love these early guys, because I've always been a history nerd, and so this is basically my love of history mixed with my love of Christianity.
And that explains why you fit so well in with this channel. So cool. If you guys want to check that out, I know we mentioned them earlier, but go ahead and go on over. That's a little behind the scenes of what he is doing. And again, I'd say the reason why I am doing this, highlighting other Christian channels like this, is because basically that's how I got my start, more or less. At least became more popular, was because of David Wood highlighting my channel, and then it started taking off more and more and more. And I'm like, well, it would be fun to do that for other people too. So here we are.
It's your Christmas gift.
Christmas
to
gift.
your brothers in Christ and sisters in Christ.
To the channels and to the audience, because now you guys know about these options that are out there, and you can go check them out and see if it fits with you or not. It's up to you. The choice is yours. Make it wisely.
Yeah, I'd also.
So let's go ahead.
I'd recommend my playlist. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
My flag. I'd say the playlist that I have, as far there's one specific playlist that's just the historical audiobooks, because I have some other stuff with like video games and like Kerbal Space Program and blah blah blah. But if you go to the playlist and specifically, it's just called a historical. I think it's historical audiobooks. That's where I would recommend generally, aside from all the random live streams that I've done. But yeah.
Well, sounds good. So let's go ahead and go on to our last two on the list. And then I've got 3 honorable mentions to add on to there. So here we go. Now, why Christianity? This channel, I've done a lot with him. He's joined me for quite a few live streams in the past. I like his content. If you want to go check it out, go ahead. I know we don't always see eye to eye on every theological point. Let's be honest. I don't with anyone ever. So, but his stuff that he's got there is excellent. Go check it out. And he is a good brother in Christ there. I wish he could have been able to join me. And in fact, I know I've invited him to a couple of my live streams. He hasn't been able to make it due to some scheduling difficulties, but I'm hoping to have him back on the channel here soon. In fact, I have a specific live stream that I'm saving just for him to join me on. Now, this last one on the list is the one that I broke some of the rules for to put him on there. To be honest with you, he wasn't supposed to have the rules broken, but they still made me break them. I'm, of course, talking about Truth Defenders. Now, this is possibly the channel that you'll be going with. This possibly may not be the channel he's going with. If you look in the description, it is literally labeled under construction. Because when I asked him what channel he wanted me to promote, he said it's under construction. So there you go. It's under construction. He's got a lot of good content there. I've done a lot of ministry with him in person, and he's been very supportive to a lot of other large Christian channels out there. He's actually been in quite a few videos, but sometimes not in the foreground, not in front of the camera, a lot of times behind the camera, doing a lot of stuff. And he's taken on, he did a debate this year with Nadir, and now he's going to go ahead and upload some videos eventually. So I will be trying to encourage him. In fact, I'll be talking to him later about some options to try to help him be able to get out there, because he's got a lot. He knows a ton of information. And I'd love it if he could come on out here. Yeah.
That'd be great.
I'd add you to the list. I'd even join you for the channel. I mean, if I suggested that you start a channel, I'm not going to just say, oh yeah, go start a channel, go do it yourself. I'm going to be willing to come on there and help you as well, unless you start going on some crazy route and make your channel about something I can't support. But I don't think you will. So there's your answer. So yep. So Truth Defender's there. Looking forward to whatever channel he promotes and puts on there. And I will probably be doing a lot with him once he gets that going. I like helping other channels get going. I know I did that with John. I'm looking forward to doing that with other channels as well. And who knows, maybe make it a regular thing. So let's go ahead and hit some of our honorable mentions. These are people who definitely violated the list, mostly because they're just too gosh darn cool for my list. So first of all, we have Reasoned Answers. If you're not a subscriber to Reasoned Answers, I would highly recommend you go check his stuff out there. I've done a lot of work with him in the past, and it's been fantastic working alongside him and doing some of the more, it's an extreme videos with him. So he's definitely helped and been a lot of fun. But you see that number there? You see that number right there? It means he was too cool for this list. So I couldn't actually put him on the 20, but definitely need to mention him here. We also have, and in addition, Thaddeus there from Reasoned Answers has spoken at quite a few of our apologetic conferences. Hey, hold on. Hey, there you are.
Let's bring her on.
You can come on. I don't know. Can't. She can't come on.
Oh, no.
But she wanted to say hi. Well, hi. Your channel was highlighted. Go check her out. Subscribe. Fantastic work that she's doing. And of course, my invitation is always open if you want to join any of the call-in live streams that I do. And I do quite a few of those. So going back to Reasoned Answers, he spoke at, of course, the conference that we did, Seek and Share Truth conference, for the last 2 years there, and he's helped out a lot with that. So let's go ahead. The next one in line is Anthony Rogers, and he does great content, and he knows so much. But be prepared for 20 minutes to go into like 2 hours of talking, because he knows a lot, and he likes engaging with people, and he's got a lot of information to be said. So he does a lot of long live streams. Great time with him. I've worked with him now for the last couple of years. We've worked together on multiple videos. He's come to a couple of the conferences, been to a couple that he has spoken out as well. Fantastic time. Always good just to sit there and talk to him. And believe me, if I'm sitting there talking to him, I'll probably talk to him for the next couple of hours, just because it's fun and engaging.
Do we know the story behind his profile picture? I've always wondered about that.
I know that he was. Oh, go ahead. Oh.
No, go for it.
No, go ahead.
So that's his actual photo from when he went to jail. He's talked about it in the past, in person and online, I believe. But this was before he was a Christian, and yeah, it's a pretty cool story if you ever get a chance to talk to him about it. But the reason he actually started studying Christianity is because of the opportunities that he had through the ways that he had turned against God actually led him to God, which is really cool how God works all things together for his good, even when we are not the best.
So yeah, if you're not familiar with his work, check him on out. He's right there. And it's a lot of joy. It's a lot of fun whenever we get together and just be able to do ministry either in person or even online. And we always get in trouble somehow.
The Damascus Highway had a good brief description. I wasn't sure how much to share and how much to let Anthony share for himself, but yeah, that's a good story. He said Reverend Rogers in his wild youth was a bit of a gangster and got busted for grand theft auto. He was converted in prison.
So he's a gamer, is what you're
It's
telling me.
interesting how that. No, I think it was more of the I'm actually stealing the car part.
Oh my goodness! What?
So
see, another reason why
he
those
got
games
busted.
are evil, because look, they created a whole crime out of a video game. There we go. I knew they were evil.
Most likely, I think I've heard him mention that they've tried to use that photo against him. GTA, the real life version. Yep. So again, it's interesting how, and this happens a lot of times, God will either use someone who is completely broken, who was completely against him, who's just done horrible things, and use him for his glory and his honor. As such as I look at Anthony, wasn't in a good spot. Now he is spreading the word of the gospel. In the same way, Paul was not in a good spot. He's a pretty bad spot. But yet God was able to use him as well. So he would be an honorable mention. He is technically too large for this live stream. But again, he's an honorable mention. And then our last honorable mention here is Radar Apologetics. If you're not familiar with him, he is an awesome character. He does something I find pretty amazing in his live streams. He's able to completely engage with the audience while covering a topic. And if you don't think that's a skill, you don't know what the skill is, because holy cow, that is hard.
Definitely, I agree.
He's
and
very
he does
engaging.
A lot of Judaism stuff, right?
Yeah, he is an actual rabbi. So he's got that background, and now he's doing apologetics and doing a fantastic job about it. So I think, Elle, you're the one that told me about him originally, I think. Do you want to say anything on him?
Very cool dude. Very grateful to have met him and to get to work with him when we do. He was part of the series that I did on Jesus in every book of the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, and his viewpoints, being a messianic rabbi, are just so invaluable, very much appreciated, and different perspectives than most of us olive branches that have been grafted in might not see on our own intrinsically. It's definitely good to work with different believers in the grand body of Christ to get different perspectives and stuff. It's very helpful and glorifying to God. So, yes.
Yeah, I remember when you told me about him, my reaction was, "What? Really cool! Let's check him out. Let's look at this." So, yeah, he's got a fun, engaging personality. And man, his perspectives are very different. If you haven't noticed, I like things that aren't the typical way of approach or a typical view on things. I like something different, something interesting. And I'd say Radar's definitely got it. So if he wasn't on your radar before, make sure he is now. So, and I think with him, that is the end of the
We do have a bonus, though.
We got a bonus? Add a bonus. Come on.
Yes. Well, I was hoping that the person who recommended the bonus would join and talk about the bonus. But he says he's on a treadmill and likes making excuses for why he can't join live.
And who is this individual that was supposed to join?
He just said hi, kids, in the comments. So, not that I'm naming any
I already
names.
mentioned his channel.
I know, but he has a channel that he would recommend be on the list, and I definitely agree. But he's saying don't be slackers to us, which I think is pretty ironic since we're all here
How is
and
that
not
a
using a
slacker?
treadmill as an excuse. But he was recommending Dr. Edward Dalcour's channel, which is the Department of Christian Defense.
I didn't have that
So,
on my list,
Department of
did I?
Christian Defense is what it is. And yes, the Christian Sodium channel, you can read your own comment if you'd like. But I agree. I agree that that should be called out for sure.
I can't believe I didn't put
Yeah, get it out there.
Eddie's channel on.
So,
I've seen Truth Defenders for years. I can't believe there's nothing there.
Yeah, I know, right? I checked out his channel. I'm like, yeah, it's blank. It's blank.
there
Where,
are some
where-
videos on some of his channels. He has a bunch of different channels, but
Yeah, but he doesn't link them in
hopefully-
his description or anything. So, come on, Truth Defenders, let's go.
yeah, he keeps
So
saying
real quick
he's
here, this
under
is the channel.
Sweet. Look at
We'll,
that.
we'll talk about this under construction thing and see if we can get it out of the construction zone. Okay?
Yeah,
But we'll talk later.
Lewis, what are you, Truth Defenders? Are you just like California at this point? Like construction for like 30 years? Come on, man.
Well, yeah, you know how the construction workers, they do it. They put out all the cones and they set up all the barriers, and then they wait 3 months and then they actually do the work. So, yeah. Well, then I look forward to seeing what he puts out. That'll be interesting.
He says
So
I'm
here
shy.
is he's shy. I've seen you do some pretty crazy stuff, dude. Some pretty crazy, awesome stuff. So if I can do this, I know you can, without a doubt. Now, actually getting off Truth Defenders and stop poking him. Yes, Dr. Eddie Dalcour, which is his recommendation, which I'm shocked. I've done work with the guy. I don't know why I didn't add him to the list. He definitely deserves to be on the list. So check him out there. So he is now the bonus one.
The Truth Defender's description for him was expert on oneness theology called Christian theology and apologetics. He's also the one who introduced us personally to the Peshitta, which is the essentially Bible Syriac translation of the Bible that Muhammad would have had access to in his time, and it included things such as John, specifically John 1, which completely refutes Islam, and yet Islam affirms. So definitely extremely important information that Dr. Edward Dalcour is revealing to the general public.
That's super cool. I'll add that video to my watch later.
Yeah, definitely check out Dr. Eddie Dalcour's work here. Again, I'm still blown away why he is not. He should definitely be up there. So I definitely need to see that number go up. And it's mind-blowing some of the stuff he's able to cover and knows. Suggestion is very welcome. So with that, though, we're going to go ahead. Are we having issues again?
I can jump off.
Am I back?
Yeah. You're still here, but I think you and I are both having issues, so I'll jump off.
You know what, Eric? Why don't you just give me
I
the
know.
channel and I'll take over, and that'll be awesome.
Okay. I think.
God bless you all. See you later.
Oh, boy. God bless. So real quick here, guys, just to let you know what's coming up. But before I do that, my two remaining guests here would you like to let people know what's coming up for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, my channel, I'm one of those guys. I have so many ideas, but it's hard to execute with the little time I have and all the time it takes to edit stuff. But I do have some stuff coming up that I've already recorded, some short pro-life response videos. Obviously, there's that debate coming up. Definitely set a reminder for that. We might even have more debates, and in the future, I might even be the one participating as an interlocutor. So that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, that's coming up. I've got some stuff. I did a collaboration with another channel, The Contemplating Christian, where we talked about Aquinas's 4 laws. It's not typical content for my channel, but I thought it was interesting. So we did a collab, and that'll be showing up pretty soon. Yeah, so lots of good stuff, lots of live streams. I'm always posting stuff, a live stream, a video, a short, or even just something in the community tab. I love to even just recommend the movie recommendations and things like that. I just recommended Nacho Libre. I was making a comment about that earlier. But, Christian movies and stuff like that, But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun over there. If you like memes and you like apologetics, I think you'll enjoy my channel. It's somewhat similar to like Testify. If anybody's seen his videos, it's a little bit in that, I guess, genre, if you want to call it. But yeah, so glad to be on, and thank you, Eric, for inviting me.
No problem. I'm glad you guys could join in. Now, you might need to ping John or the Culture Crusader. You might need to ping them, definitely, for doing movie reviews and stuff, and see about doing something with them. That might work out well for everyone involved. So, the Christian Sodium channel. What's new? What's coming up? What's happening? What do you want to plug?
Well, I'm midway through. I think a lot of the works of Cyprian of Carthage. If I'm just going along with the history of the church, before I decided to do that, or kind of just fell into that, I was going to do. It was either between Theodotus or Socrates Scholasticus, who he was continuing the work of. So, basically the earliest Christian history writing was Eusebius of Caesarea, which was written in like the 320s, around there. So the next guy, he takes over from after that period of time up until the 400s. And in this very specific period of time, I'm probably going to hit that. But then I was also doing Basil of the Cappadocian Fathers, Basil the Great. He is awesome. So I already recorded his work on the Holy Spirit. So I'm probably going to release that soon. And hopefully at some point I can sit down, and I wanted to start writing some actual videos out, because again, I haven't been live streaming a lot lately. I'm just kind of going with the flow at this point. So yeah, but Cyprian of Carthage, that's what I need to finish him before I do anything else, just because I got to be a completist,
Awesome. Well, for me, I've got a couple of things coming up. I mean, it's getting towards the end of the year. I normally do take a bit of a break, but I do have some surprise things that have come up that I do want to share with everyone in the audience. I know that I'll be joining Hatun on the 20th for a live stream there on her channel, as well as the one coming after that. I'll be doing a review with John on his channel on the 21st, so that would be next Saturday, on the Homestead, the new movie Homestead that's coming out from Angel Studios. And I'm kind of excited about that one. So I hope that one's pretty decent. I mean, it's got some of my favorite actors in it, so we'll see what happens. After that, we've got our Christmas party coming up. So that's year-end review. We'll be looking at the top 10 videos of 2024 that I've had throughout the year, as well as just going over what's going on with the channel, where things are going, and also what we're looking at doing next year. Next year is going to be a big year for this channel and what we are doing for both my wife and myself. So, and then after that, we have the last live stream of the year. This is for members only, which is the after party. which I'll be going into a lot more detail in what's coming up in that one to the members who are on this channel. After that, I'll join Hatun for another end of year thing. I normally don't do this, but hey, Hatun invited, so I say yes. It sounds like fun. On the 29th and the 30th, some of it has to do with Muslim Dawahis and what they have done for the last year. So that ought to be a lot of fun. So make sure to tune into that. And then I will be back on the 11th of next month with the next live stream. So as always, I will need to make a special thank you to a couple of people. But before that, Dias Volt and goodbye. And thank you to all the members. Thank you for contributing and keeping this content going. If you'd like to contribute as well, you can click the join button and share this video. Let us grow closer to Christ together.